Do you know what it feels like to be part of the world around you?
He's just running late. He's always late.
Or maybe you feel apart from the world.
But what on earth is keeping him?
Perhaps you feel more like an octopus.
Mr. Groom, the wedding is starting. Are you ready? You're not even dressed! Make yourself presentable. She's waiting for you.
Octodad 2, Deadliest Catch is a silly little game from 2014 about an octopus doing his best to blend into human society and raise a family. To most, it is a fun slapstick diversion for a couple hours. But to us, it is something more. It is a game about the lengths we go through to present us normal, to fit in both for our own sake and to comfort our loved ones. Speaking of loved ones, our dear Octodad is running late for his own wedding. The game starts where traditional nuclear family is expected to: marriage. And with it comes many rituals and social norms to perform. So of course, he needs to present himself appropriately in his tuxedo and bow tie. Before stepping out in front of the congregation, his wife, her family, and, oh no, only a single piranha came for poor Octodad. But the show must go on, and Octodad must prove he is human by demonstrating his ability to walk in a straight line, as well as to take over for the ring bearer in his absence. Our octopus is certainly doing well for himself, but he is not the only one who seeks his place in a world he was not built for. My Octopus Teacher is a 2020 documentary about its filmmaker, Craig Foster's attempts to meet an octopus in her natural habitat in order to understand his own place in the world better. Like Octodad, Foster's experiences a barrier between himself and his world, while Octodad experiences primarily a physical barrier, as his body is not compatible with the human world. Foster experiences an emotional disconnect from the natural, which he projects onto others, namely, a pair of Kalahari trackers, which he goes so far as to call
inside of the natural world.
Presumably, he means in the sense that they are people who have, unlike him, breached the barrier between humanity and nature. But he doesn't interview them. We don't see their perspective. We are left observing them as we would any other apex predator. Their importance is the emotional impact they leave on our principal character, and that it compelled him to leave his home, his family, his son, to explore the kelp forests of South Africa. While he is doing that, let's check back in with our friend Octodad. It's been 10 years since he's gotten married. Octopuses are known to live short lives, so his perception of time is a little different from ours. You'll have to forgive him for sleeping in late. It's hard to get out of bed without bones.
Hey, look! Dad's up! Morning, Daddy!
But at least we can now meet his family. His two children, Stacy and Tommy.
Tommy?
Yeah?
Can I borrow your flashlight later tonight?
Why?
If you put your finger over it and turn it on, you can see your finger bones.
Awesome.
And his wife, Scarlett.
Oh, you're finally up. Nice to see you, sleepyhead.
Noticeably, Octodad does not speak, but his burbles are understood by his family as if they were speech. We can also learn a lot about the relationship from what behaviors count against our suspicion meter. Back at the wedding, just knocking over a pot would set off people's suspicions. But with the family, nothing short of sticking our foot in the fireplace or dropping a heavy jug of milk on our daughter will upset them. They are fine with breaches of decorum or order. So long as they remain safe, Octodad is forgiven his idiosyncrasies.
I made your coffee just the way you like it. Sea salt and tartar sauce.
That is, until we step on a flower.
No! Oh, my flowers!
Scarlett's garden is the one thing she holds sacred, elevating them above mere objects by virtue of them being living things existing as a product of her will. So we finish up our chores by fixing our birdhouse.
I've got you now!
To meet our antagonist, Chef Fujimoto. He seems displeased to see an octopus masquerading as a human, and sets the stakes for our exposure. They would devour us. But Octodad fends him off and hides the conflict from his family. shielding them from his struggles.
Honey, what's going on over there? Anyway, I have a surprise for the whole family. A free trip to the aquarium! I know you think aquariums are festering prisons of iniquity, but I've got to write an article for the paper. Can't you make an exception this time? For me?
Not understanding his apprehension because he is unable to open up to them.
We need to go to the grocery store. We need things like cereal for the kids. Right, kids?
Well, we already have cereal.
We need so much cereal. Then it's settled. We're all going to the grocery store.
As they leave for the grocery store, Foster begins to explore the kelp forest, finding its denizens strange, exotic,
The animals are extremely exotic and strange.
extreme, and most of all, strange.
It's like much more extreme than our maddest science fiction.
Of course, to the residents, he is the strangest thing here.
There was a strange shape to my left, and just going down and seeing this really strange thing.
At least until he meets her.
And then suddenly,
And I do feel comfortable with him calling this octopus strange, as a common octopus covering itself to hide is unusual behavior. Normally, these guys just blend into their environment using their natural color and shape-changing abilities. This kind of tool use is more common in other species, like the coconut octopus, so this could be evidence of novel behavior that required documenting. But the question is, what is the best way to do so ethically? How do we observe a creature without disrupting it?
and then I had this crazy idea. What happens if I just went every day? What happens if I never missed a day? And initially she was clearly being affected by my presence. So I thought, oh, I'll just leave the camera there and then that will record her going about her business. This is now something different. This is interesting. Touching it, feeling it, tasting it.
Placing the camera in the octopus's environment is fairly innocuous. They are naturally curious creatures who will explore the device at their own pace. And he is right to continue to explore the rest of the forest,
Really get to know her environment better.
learning its ecological niches, its predators, its regions. To understand any subject, one must understand its environment.
They really are her most serious predator. Their skin is striped, as that's what they call it, pajama shop. They're not visual predators, but they have an incredible sense of smell.
But upon returning to the octopus, Foster starts to show how he understands the octopus through describing her motivations.
Very interested, very curious, but not taking stupid chances. Keeping all the other arms attached to the den and the suckers in place.
I agree with him that she is expressing apprehension initially,
Far the most powerful is when it comes out the den. That's when you know there's full trust. There's no holding the arms back just in case I have to pull back. It's like, I totally trust this human.
but does it really mean absolute trust that she leaves her den to swim past him? Maybe she's grown bored of him. Maybe she's just hungry enough to scoot on by as it's lunchtime. Who knows? She isn't engaging directly with him, so why would her experience be about him? He makes the observation that as an octopus, she is alone.
She's got no mother or father to teach her anything. She's alone. But you've got all these different type of predators, all hunting her.
Having no family, much like himself.
When you're diving alone, everything about my kit has to be perfect.
Left unsaid is that he left his behind. But you know who does have a family? That's right, Octodad. And he needs to get their food from the grocery store. We get a frozen pizza, bother a fellow shopper who is only annoyed with us if we make physical contact with his person, steal the last box of cereal out of this lady's cart, and climb this tower to get the soda. The trick with banana peels is to just go limp. Let them slide us a little, then calmly stand up once we're on solid ground.
Pasta soda.
This is an important technique for all octopuses to understand. But anyways, we finish up the rest of our checklist and are tempted by free sushi. It's an obvious trap, but we have no choice.
I will turn you into moderately priced sushi. Go down, or I can kill you. What's the matter, Octopus? Stuck in a jam?
It's a simple escape, but Scarlet wants an explanation for why we disappeared. This isn't the first time something like this has happened.
There you are. We were getting worried. You're always up to something odd. What were you doing back there?
But Octodad is tight-lipped. I do my best to comfort her before heading to the checkout.
All right, now that we've got our groceries, it's time to head to the aquarium. Well, that makes two of us. To the car, kids.
Yay! I want to see a snugglefish.
I want to climb something condemned. Honey, it's really simple. You can come to the aquarium with your family, or you can walk home alone.
Come on, Dad. What are you waiting for?
Scarlet's ultimatum is not coming from a malicious place. She just wants Octodad to be honest, and needs to force it out of him the only way she can. Now, the stakes here are raised. I don't need to explain the threat a shark represents. But marine biologists are dangerous because they are an authority granted the right to say what Octodad is, but they do not ask how Octodad is. If they spot you, then you are just another fish. To be sent back to the ocean? To be fed to the sharks? Who knows? I'm not going to let them, because I'm pretty okay at this game.
Don't worry, we're here for you. Now, let's get some tickets.
Part of fitting in as a human requires gender performance, as taking one step into the women's bathroom causes serious damage to our suspicion meter. But the men's room is safe, unless we crawl into a stall which is already in use, in which case it's an instant game over. I really should have seen that coming. We make it through admissions,
Yeah, his name's Shark Joe.
get a gag about being an octopus disguised as a human, disguised as an octopus, and catch up with our son Tommy in the kelp forest. Kelp forest. Oh right, Foster. So this is a part where he begins to worry me. So first he is playing with the octopus, right? And he drops his camera lens. This naturally startles the octopus, and she dashes away. A natural mistake, but his response concerns me.
And you want to kick yourself because it's, that could have ended in the most incredible interaction and deep trust, and you've ruined it. Now, have you ruined it forever? Is that animal ever going to trust you? Has that experience freaked it out too much?
Okay, but is she okay? This is the wild, sir. She has predators about. Every moment is a matter of life or death for her. Have you forgotten the stakes for the other party?
And didn't come back to that den. And I thought this was over. She was gone. This animal has spent millions of years learning to be impossible to find. I had to learn what octopus tracks looked like.
Why would you follow her? She clearly wants to get away from you. She changed her home address to get away from you. It's over. You're in the sea. There are so many fish there. Go find another one. No, don't build a Peppa Sylvia board. Okay, look, just because she came back to you does not mean it's okay to hunt someone down after they've changed their address in response to your actions. That is predatory behavior, in the sense that this is how we took down mammoths. Through endurance. Following animals that lack the same stamina until it wears them down and they tire out.
It was very difficult to imagine at first that she was getting anything out of the relationship. Why would a wild animal doing its thing get anything out of this strange human creature visiting?
What do you mean you struggled to imagine what she was getting out of this? You tracked her across the forest without even asking if she wanted it? This is just like when men realize women enjoy sex too, after a lifetime of hounding them for it. What was the dynamic you were imagining in your mind up until this point? Well, at least he's doing some research now. So let's leave him to it and get back to Octodad and his son. Here at the aquarium, the kelp forest is less of a live exhibit and more of an educational activity center.
Aw, man, look at all this learning. Come on, Dad. Let's get through all this junk so we can get out.
Tommy is a sporty and competitive child.
The world of kelp. Travel the world of kelp. How fast can you map the world's kelp forests?
Grab that big globe and I'll get the quiz going. Nereocystis, they're green. Go, Dad, go!
So the educational aspect is lost on him to his desire to play hard.
Falcocystis is purple. Hurry, Dad. We need to get the best time.
And he projects that competitiveness onto us, expecting his father to complete these activities just as quick. Further, we are under the expectations of other adults, as this man here would absolutely judge us for sending Octodad down the kid slide. And I know it would be fun. You know it would be fun. We all know it would be fun. But can we risk that scrutiny? No. It's much better to play things safe and act like how an adult human should act as we move down the stairs. While Octodad struggles to run on this wheel, I'd like to briefly mention how video games are unique as a medium for exploring disability. These activities would be pretty simple for a regular adult human, but by changing how we move, we change how we engage with our environment and get a new perspective on the mundane. We can learn to understand the world from another's perspective in a way that no other medium is capable of. A movie about a man who can't use his arms will never have the same impact as actually playing as him. Anyway, Tommy has climbed this monster of a playset and is tossing spores at us while telling us to hurry up to the top.
Come on, Dad. Where's your sense of gravity? Did you grow up on the moon?
And I struggled with it. Quite a bit, in fact. But Octodad's only response is a pleasantly surprised burble on hearing his son is practicing for the big race.
Dad, you gotta be faster. I don't blame you, though. I've been training for the big race.
He's usually pretty emotive when in distress, so I'm inferring that this is a state of play for him. And he is actively choosing to overcome these challenges, both for his own fun and to bond with his son. He knows this is an enriching experience for both of them,
That was great, Dad. I accidentally had the best life.
and is willing to engage with humans on their own terms. As we'll see ahead, he uses different approaches to engage with each of his family members. But first, we need to return to Foster and see what he's learned about his octopus friend. Mostly about their intelligence, their neural structure, their sense organs. I'll get to these in their own time. What matters here is he is learning about octopus nocturnality.
Octopus is supposed to be a nocturnal species.
It surprises him, and he takes up night diving to investigate,
It's a little bit scary in the dark.
and is again surprised that she is better at night hunting.
And there she is. Right in extremely shallow water. Using her arm like this strange weapon.
She is now catching fish for the first time on camera.
And I saw her catch 3 fish like this. I've never seen her catching a fish during the day.
But what worries me is he doesn't question his own role in this. Has he been disruptive to her by engaging her during the day up to this point? Is the light from his camera affecting her hunting now? Usually, it doesn't concern me when a naturalist shines a light on a deep-sea or nocturnal creature, since they'll do so just long enough to observe it, identify it, notice novel behaviors, and move on. But the moving on step is key. When you observe the same animal every day for months at a time, you become part of its life, and its needs adapt around your own, something which Foster seems to be blind to.
The first instinct is to try and scare the sharks away. But then you realize that you'll be interfering with the whole process of the forest.
I think it's a little late for that. You've already interfered with your presence. The question left is, what do you do now that you are involved?
She was out of the den, moving around near the edge of the forest. I noticed the shark. This is not good.
This next section is a bit tough for me, as he doesn't hold anything back with watching the sharks tear away at her.
And the next minute, the shark is actually clamped down on one of her arms, doing this terrifying death roll.
But thankfully, they only get a single arm.
Bleeding that smells in the water.
But at least Foster shows some understanding of the stakes, that this is a life or death situation, and his presence plays a role in it.
I didn't know what was going to happen to her, or if this would make her weak and vulnerable and they'd finish her off that night.
Before he makes it about himself again.
I felt very vulnerable, as if somehow what happened to her had happened to me in some strange way. Thinking about your own death and your own vulnerability, worried about your family or child. I hadn't been a person that was overly sentimental towards animals before. I realized I was changing. She was teaching me to become sensitized to the other, especially wild creatures.
He's learning the wrong lessons. This isn't about your own mortality. You should be learning about the responsibility to the people in your life. But you know who is taking responsibility for the people in his life? That's right, Octodad. And he is catching up with his daughter Stacy in the deep ocean.
You are now entering the deep ocean, home to many strange and mysterious creatures. Bear witness to their world of...
Daddy? Is that you? Don't run off without me. Okay, Dad?
She is deeply afraid of the dark, and yet she chose to come here. Why?
Jellyfish can live forever. Can you?
Well, she is characterized as being more emotionally intelligent and introspective. So I am inclined to believe it's to overcome her fears and bond with her father, who she trusts will come and see her through.
Ooh, jellies. They make me feel like I'm wrapped up in a warm, cozy blanket made of jelly.
Naturally, she is correct, of course.
When we escape this place of nightmares, can we get ice cream?
And she returns the favor, intuiting that Octodad fears the marine biologists, and distracts them to help us through.
Oh no! Dad, it's one of those science men that you're afraid of! Give me the shaky light! Thanks, Dad! Nothing can scare me.
Excuse me, little girl. Stop.
She has learned from his example, knowing that one must intuit the needs of their loved ones to meet them where they falter.
Daddy! What is that thing? Help!
We then deal with some wiring, while she holds the light steady, so we can teach her about the role of the light in aquatic predator-prey relations.
Witness the amazingly cuddly Snugglefish. A stuffed Snugglefish toy makes a killer gift.
Try hunting now, you stupid fish.
And ugly. What's wrong, Daddy? You sound like Mommy when she sees the house after Newman's breakfast.
She's even able to retain lessons when we act in defiance of them, requiring us to go up the escalator backwards, because she knows not to.
Dad, I can't go up there. I'm not Tommy. I follow the rules.
Even calling us a princess for doing so.
You can do it. A princess can do anything he or she wants to. Dad, you gotta switch it so it works right. Or I'll be stuck here forever.
Now, before we meet up with Scarlet, we should see how Foster's octopus is healing up.
Thank you for visiting the deep ocean. Were you undelighted? I bet you weren't.
She isn't doing well. Octopuses typically go white and hide away in their dens when ill or injured, as she is doing now.
And now I'm worried, how's she getting food?
Foster is still insistent on not interfering, unaware that he has done so immensely.
You are crossing a line when you interfere in the lives of animals. But I was just too overcome with my feelings for her.
He tries to feed her in his one attempt to interfere on her behalf instead of against it.
I don't think it really helped.
It fails when he doesn't put the food deep enough in her den for her to get it before the Brittlestar thieves. But eventually she recovers, under his observation but without his assistance. And he uses her triumph to reflect on his own struggles.
And it gave me a strange sort of confidence that she can get past this incredible difficulty. And I felt in my life I was getting past the difficulties I had.
And what are those struggles, Foster?
In a strange way, our lives were mirroring each other. My relationship with people, with humans, was changing. My son, at this stage, was very interested in everything underwater.
Your son? What do you mean your son? He looks fine to me. He even shares your interests. Is there an issue with your connection to him? You cannot go from saying you are overcoming your issues to showing us your son. What do you mean by this? Where is he in all of this? Did you leave him somewhere? And for that matter, where is his wife? And by his, I mean Octodad, and by wife, I mean Scarlet. Let's check the arcade.
Can we talk? Well, we're alone without the kids for once. Honey, we should really talk.
I really wish we could, Scarlet, but octopuses are not social by nature. So talking about a relationship does not come easy. What does come easy is collecting things for the den.
I wonder what our lives will be like once our kids grow up and move away. Maybe we'll finally have time to travel.
And giving gifts is the natural extension of that behavior. So Octodad needs us to win prizes to give to Scarlet. That dejected look on her face as she tosses them aside, fully aware that her attempts to connect with her husband are not getting through to him, affects me far more than it has any right to.
Are you ever going to explain that? I don't get it. You love the ocean, but you seem to hate the aquarium.
Well, this piranha throwing minigame gives me far more trouble than it has any right to.
So you think you can beat old air hockey Matt at his own game, huh? Bring it.
Poor air hockey Matt.
How did you beat me? I've been training for so long.
Oh no, the tank has sprung a leak. My hands are full. Why don't you try to fix that instead?
The piranha tank begins to leak, and Octodad needs us to fix it.
Here, use these. I don't want them anyway.
Scarlet returns her gifts to us. It's goofy, but remember, it was one of these fish who showed up to their wedding. These are the closest thing to a family that Octodad had before Scarlet. He's respecting a kinship unknown to us, while plugging holes in the glass with plush animals serves as a metaphor for his marriage. Will the piranha bites teach him that this cannot continue? He doesn't let on, as he's not so transparent as the glass. His heroism does not impress Scarlet.
Well, I have wasted enough time here. I've got work to do. When you feel like having a real discussion, find me at the Shark Tank.
She is done with his antics. But I am not. I don't want to return to Foster just yet, so we can waste no time going to her. Oh.
You fell into my trap! Octopus!
Perhaps we could have waited a little time.
Nowhere to run this time. Now, tell me, Octopus, what are you plotting? How many others are there? Why is everybody fish? It doesn't matter. Go back where you belong!
I think there may be more to the chef's grudge than a hunger for sushi.
Goodbye, Octopus! I'll tell your family the bad news.
How did he first find us anyways?
Why is the boat stopped? Where's the captain?
You know him, probably taking a shower.
In the middle of a rainstorm?
Octopuses aren't usually as graceful on land as they are at sea. It's difficult to stand up without a spine, and I love how Octodad lampshades this with a caffeine addiction. He never changes his color the traditional way either, opting for a more human approach to camouflage through different disguises, first as an Octo Sailor,
Watch out, it's slippery out here.
then an Octo Captain,
Glad to see you out of the shower. Can you get to the helm and get us out of this storm?
long before he became the Octodad we know and love today. Like in life, you'd be surprised what you can get away with just by looking like you belong where you are. Something this mysterious woman could learn a thing or two about.
The captain. I'm sorry for stowing away. Please don't throw me overboard. Really? Well, now we're both in trouble. Who are you then? Aren't we a pair? Say,
Is the octopus here?
that's Chef. He's been watching for stowaways the whole voyage.
The chef is not so easily fooled. Apparently we were not the first masquerading aquatic animal he's come across.
Something is different about you, Captain. If you really are the captain, then dance the captain's jig. Wow. A fine jig. But can you tie a sheepshank knot? What kind of... You are not the captain. You are not even human.
Hey, big guy. Yeah, you.
What? Who are you? Stowaway?
Wait, before you kick me off, can I ask you some questions about the war?
Oh, well, since you asked, I have some strong opinions.
What is this conflict about?
Let me start from the beginning. Some people would say this is about international fishing.
But how deep does this go? Perhaps some mysteries are just not for us. But that's alright. Life gets easier when we don't make everything about ourselves.
Curse you, octopus! I will find you! I will always find you!
That was a close one. I hope that man is okay. All right. So what about you, mystery man? Who are you? Well, someday I'll get an answer out of you. In the meantime, would you care for a dance?
Our lead couple bonds over rescuing each other. They dance slowly, accepting the mysteries left between them, replacing the interrogatory captain's jig from before. This happy memory dissolves, and Foster's octopus is back to hunting crabs, protecting her catch from brittle stars, and struggling to catch lobsters.
And then a couple of weeks later, watching her coming around the side, corralling me so that she can then get between the lobster and myself, using me as part of her hunting strategy.
What are you saying, Foster? The lobster is between the two of you in this shot, and then she's between you and the lobster in the next. How have you helped her in this? It looks more to me like she has just improved her technique for catching an unfamiliar prey, while you watch from the sidelines.
She basically has to do geometry to work out exactly the precise spot where she needs to drill that shell in order to get her food.
Let me know in the comments your favorite place to chisel into the shell of a gastropod. Also, minor nitpick. Why are you in focus here? Let me look at the damn shells. Anyway, I do have to admit that Foster is a very competent cinematographer when not following a single octopus around, and I would happily watch a documentary that's just more of this stuff. But instead...
And of course, you know, you've forgotten, those predators are ever present.
The sharks are back to torture our poor octopus friend, and it's distressing watching her ink as she runs away from the camera. It looks like she's running away from Foster just as much as she's running from the sharks. At least it's nice to see she's regained some of her old tricks for evading the sharks. We haven't seen her use her shell ball technique since she met Foster. I really hope his presence hasn't affected her skills through teaching her to trust large swimming animals, but I wouldn't want to speculate. Instead, let's just appreciate how impressively she evades the shark. You know who else needs to evade a shark? That's right, Octodad. And not just a shark. He's taking a tour of the whole aquarium. The other sea creatures come to our aid. I guess no one likes the shark around here. I've never noticed the leftover equipment from the octopus exhibit here on the left before. This game is short, but it's full of little Easter eggs. We catch up with the family.
Kids, have you seen your father? It's almost closing time. Where could he be?
Dunno.
I saw him go in a weird door.
Another mystery. Well, we'll wait as long as we can.
And Stacy is the only one to recognize Octodad through the glass.
Excuse me, ma'am?
It's that weirdo!
I have bad news about your husband.
Don't trust him! Have we met? Wait. I've seen you. Are you an old friend of my husband's? What can you tell me about him?
Everything! You must come with me to cafeteria!
Come on, Stacy.
What? Wait!
Go get him, Octodad. It's nighttime now, and we have to break into the aquarium. Turns out the authorities on marine life are unscrupulous when it comes to weaponizing that authority over others, even if it's just really petty.
I love it when the aquarium closes. Why is that? So I can tap on the tanks and not look like a hypocrite.
Our objectives are getting more elaborate. Make a disguise, enter the women's restroom,
While you're in there, do you mind unclogging the toilet?
cause a fire,
Okay, this is ridiculous. Joe, let's go in there and make sure he's alright.
and I'm really excited for what I get to talk about now. Observant viewers may have noticed, I have been very precise about when I say Octodad versus when I say us or we, as in the player. This is because we are not Octodad, we are his limbs. What do I mean by that? Well, earlier I may have mentioned that octopuses have a decentralized nervous system. That system is made of a central brain structure connected to 8 large nervous clusters located at the base of each arm. The central brain takes in sensory information and relays goals to the arms, like grab that crab, give me a cup of coffee, or put on that shark costume.
You don't know the first thing about being a sea creature.
The relationship we've had to our objective markers was subtle up until now,
Kelp, I'm wet!
since it's always been things that were obvious to the player based on the situation. But Octodad is now taking more initiative in his actions, planning out his infiltration like an octopus,
Look at that. Joe, are you out of your mind?
sneaking through vents,
Can't you see I'm busy?
causing chaos that leads him towards his goal.
No, leafy sea dragon! You were my only friend.
It's a brilliant little bit of ludonarrative consonance that brings us closer to understanding what it's like to be an octopus, and shows us where Octodad is in his emotional journey. Now, I would love to follow Octodad to the conclusion of his story, but I actually want to end this on a positive note, so we need to finish up with Foster first.
And for a good 80% of her life. Each moment is so precious because it's so short.
My favorite part of any story is the calm before the storm, the moment of joy that precedes catastrophe. And here, we get the octopus at play, accompanied by some fish. In the years since this documentary's release, a paper cited below demonstrated that octopuses seek fish out for hunting scouts. Their isolationist reputation only extends intraspecially, that is, with other octopuses. Instead, They seek companionship with other species. This even sheds some light towards Octodad, and why he prefers to be around humans. But I digress. This moment of joy can't last.
There's another big octopus right next to her.
Every octopus must eventually seek a mate. And for her, that time has come. This confuses Foster.
Oh my god, what's going on?
But we know what this means. And if you don't, thank you for letting me be the one to tell you. Octopuses only mate once in her life. Her mate will soon die. His role is spent. But she still must lay her eggs, and she will commit the rest of her life to caring for them. She will no longer feed herself, even if a friendly human were to gift her with food. Protecting her young is her only instinct now. When it comes time that they hatch, she will perspire. Her hundreds of thousands of children burst out simultaneously, replica of her in miniature, as they will need to adapt quickly to survive in this hostile world alone. There is no time for infancy. I wish I could show you this moment, the culmination of her life's work, but this is all I have for that footage. Instead, we have their mother's corpse, being torn apart by fish, brittle stars, and sharks. Is this the most important part of understanding her life's journey? Not really. Is this important for understanding how Foster feels about it? Well, let's see what he has to say.
And I just float above it and feel her there. Of course I miss her. I mean, in some crazy way, it was a relief. It was a relief because the intensity of going every day and tracking her and trying to capture it was tough in a way. I mean, I sort of slept, dreamt this animal. It was, I was in my mind thinking like an octopus. It was also taxing in a way.
The sharks were kinder. At least they were honest. This is Vulturous. He has learned absolutely nothing if he can't extend sympathy to her in this moment.
But underneath that, this incredible pride for this animal that's been through impossible odds to get to this place. I mean, an unimaginable life.
He can't relate to her experiences at all, even as a fellow parent. She gave her life for her children. Where is your son in all this, sir? Okay, great, you found him. But why was he gone? Did the octopus teach you to go find him? I feel like there's an entire dynamic missing here from the final product. Foster goes on to list other lessons the octopus taught him.
She'd made me realize just how precious wild places are. I fell in love with her, but also with that amazing wildness that she represented and how that changed me. What she taught me was to feel that you're part of this place, not a visitor. That's a huge difference.
But these are all things you'd need to have before making a nature documentary. And I don't think he's learned any of them. Otherwise, he'd know the harm he's affected onto the octopus. And even now, there is no sense of remorse for the ink spilt between them. Contrary to his sentiment, he is truly
a beast apart, and as family, we must tear out its jaw and drive it back into the sea.
Sorry, that wasn't supposed to happen. Let's fix this and, there we go. Hey, great, Octodad. And the chef has his family.
No! You not get it! He was octopus!
Let me go!
That doesn't make any sense. How would he even walk on land?
I'll call the police!
He just does! I'm not crazy!
Clearly. I guess you don't know anything after all. Well then, we're leaving. It's past the kids' bedtimes.
You not leaving until you understand!
It's
an octopus!
It's Dad! Nobody else knew?
You see? He is octopus! I'm not crazy!
Awesome! Just because you're right doesn't mean you're not crazy.
This explains so much.
You have them beguiled, octopus, but I still cut you down! Fried octopus coming up!
Even the chef here has my sympathy. I know it's like to fail at explaining the truth, because just too absurd on the face of it. You try explaining to your coworkers why you don't eat octopus, just because nature made some of the mollusks smart.
Honey, you're okay. Thank goodness. We've got to help the kids.
Anyways, Octodad lives up to his octopus origins. Here at the climax, where his life is on the line more than anyone else's, his instinct is purely for the safety of his family. He will not submit to the fire, no matter how many times I slip. His goal is too important. And yet, he is more than a regular octopus. Having saved his family saves him in turn. They will not let him sacrifice himself to the fire in my footwork, as he would in the wild.
Honey? So, this news will take some getting used to. But I was imagining much worse. But next time, tell me 10 years earlier.
Wait a second. If that is an octopus, then where did me and Stacy come from?
To them, it doesn't matter that he's an octopus. He is still a part of the family. If you made it this far, thank you. I don't want to tell you to like, comment, or subscribe, but I know that I should. Instead, here in the Northern Hemisphere, spring is coming. Go find some cool bugs and tell me about them in the comments. It will keep my mind off the bugs in my own programming. Until later, I have more code to write.